We are live يا أستاذ جوجو يا أستاذ جورج.
ايوه يا فندم.
ازيك
شبيك لبيك عبدك ملك ايديك.
الله
I'm your
لازم of course. Welcome. Welcome, Mr. George, and welcome everybody. This is going to be a short but important Juju live session on the most beloved Egyptian rhythms.
Okay.
So I have selected two questions. We are going to meet very soon at our course Rhythms for Oriental Dancers and also our free workshop this weekend. And in relation to that, I usually gather questions that dancers send me via email or inside Joana Saahirah's online dance school, or even in my private coaching. I'm always paying attention. So I'm sharing two of those questions directly related with rhythms, and we're going to answer them and hopefully help and inspire lovers of Egyptian dance. So the first is, what are the most beloved Egyptian rhythms? And before you answer, I would like you to introduce yourself. I know that I always ask you this, but it's important because once we share the replay on YouTube and other platforms, some students may not know you, may not know who we are. So it's always important to introduce ourselves. So before we answer the question, what are the most beloved Egyptian rhythms? Can you please present yourself with eyebrows? لازم. أيوة كده.
Okay. In the words of Yasmina Ramzi, I'm the biggest nerd she ever met. In the words of Nada al-Masriya, the Egyptian dancer, she said, you are graduate from the black and the white movies because of my humor, my eyebrows, all of these things.
Yes.
Anyway, I was born in Alexandria, Egypt. In 1947, I'm quite old. I was lucky to have gone to French schools. They teach you discipline, they teach you logic, they teach you to think. At the same time, I was in Alexandria, in Egypt, in the golden era, and Sami Gamal and Choreographer were my beloved dancers at the time. So I sort of caught the last bit of the golden era. I also studied Qanun in Alexandria with four magnificent teachers who were really the last generation. Then I came to Canada to study more about the background and history of Arabic music, taking it back to Mecca and Medina in the 8th century and medieval Baghdad in the 9th and 10th century. And that helped me teach, explain the modern era, and the modern era helped me explain the medieval era.
Beautiful.
So
beautiful. I will work on my definition of you. And then I will deliver it in the right moment, Yani Mazboot. I'm working on it. So very shortly, and welcome Tamara, welcome everybody. Guys, as usual, feel welcome to share your questions and feedback with us. Drop your comments, say hi in the comments to the live session, okay? And for the ones who don't know me yet, I'm a world-renowned Oriental dancer, teacher, choreographer, and author, and I'm also the creator of the pioneering online dance platforms, Joana Saahirah's World and Joana Saahirah's Online Dance School, delivering authentic Egyptian dance, personal discovery, and empowerment. I started my career in Cairo, where I fell in love with rhythms. So this will take us directly into the theme of our Juju Live Session, rhythms, Egyptian rhythms. And I fell in love with rhythms through the work with percussionists, great percussionists who made me fall in love with the subject, who made me know the subject and experience it from a deeper perspective, okay? So hopefully today we're gonna shed some light into Egyptian rhythms, why they're important, what are the most beloved rhythms, and also this weekend at our workshop and also at our course, Rhythms for Oriental Dancers, we're gonna go deeper into the rhythms that make the portfolio, the standard portfolio for Oriental dancers. So now, without further ado, we are going to answer the question, what are the most beloved Egyptian rhythms? What do you think, Mr. George?
Well, the Mahmoud Saahirah and Ma'soom are the most popular. The Mahmoud Saahirah is dum tak tak dum tak. Assume is one doom instead of two. Then, of late, every band has to have sidey, where the two dooms come in the middle. They're offset. And you also have the fallahi, which is very beautiful. Then you have the marfuf. Ayub. You have two.
But what are the most beloved? What are the most popular and why? Why do you think Mahmoud Sahir, for instance, is so popular amongst dancers? Is it easier than other rhythms? There are rhythms that are easier, more appealing than others. What do you think?
I think it has been heard so much, so long, that sort of it is in the blood of the singers, composer, and dancers. And it's a beautiful thing. Boom, 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 tak, doom, doom, tak, doom, tak, la 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 tam, ta, la 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 la, la 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 la, la. It's very dance-like. It's beautiful.
It's more, it's joyful, and it is kind of in the background of all Egyptian musical repertoire, right?
Yes.
It seems like you're hearing it all the time. It's almost like in our unconscious mind.
Exactly.
You don't have to think about them like you would have to think about more specific rhythms like the Samay, which, by the way, is one of my favorite, but it's not so popular. It's not so common and not so easy to catch here, and not so easy to catch in terms of movements, right?
Oh, yeah.
So do you think it has to do with familiarity? The most beloved rhythms are the ones we listen to the most?
I think so. And it's very Egyptian. And it's also used a lot in pop music, folk music, and even art and classical music, they use it. But it's sort of quintessential Egyptian folkloric meter. Yeah, very, very Egyptian.
What is your favorite rhythm? Do you have a favorite rhythm?
The Grand Mahmoudi, much slower. Tum taka tum traka taka tum taka 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 tum. It's very majestic. Yeah.
It's beautiful. That's one of my favorite as well. It is beautiful, and it is very inducive into a state of tarab.
It does. Lots of tarab in it. And a lot of old dancers would start to the Grand Mahmoudi, then move on to the small Mahmoudi.
It's beautiful. Could you play just a little bit for them to know what I'm speaking about? Because that's one of my favorite rhythms.
Yeah. As opposed to this one is
exactly. It is also a kind of a mood that induces the dancer and the musician into a more poetic, more emotional state.
Yes.
Don't you think? Some rhythms are more superficial. They're fun, but they're more superficial. They don't truly lead you into a deep, intimate, emotional state. But the Grand Mahmoudi is certainly one that leads you there. It's beautiful. You know, it's what I call the moods of the rhythms. Each rhythm has a specific mood. We're going to start seeing that in the workshop we're going to hold this weekend, the workshop on Egyptian rhythms for dances. Each rhythm has its own, almost like its own flavor, like a different food, you know? So it is interesting also for dancers to identify the rhythms they love the most, where those rhythms are taking them, what those rhythms allow them to do, what mood, what emotion each rhythm is proposing, right? as opposed to just seeing rhythm as one single uniform theme,
No,
which is not.
exactly.
Which is not. Let me see if we have questions here from our students. Hi, Tamara. Hi, Nicole. Hi, guys. So the second question I have for us, and I made it short so that we would deliver this pill of inspiration to our people, is if you could pick one essential rhythm that every Oriental dancer must know about, what would it be? Independently of your personal preference. I'm not speaking about what you love the most. I'm speaking about one specific rhythm every Oriental dancer should master. What
Absolutely.
would that be?
The small Masmoudi. And this is where the audience start to clap. Okay, you're going to find it on page 7. One right here.
That's your booklet. That's your booklet. And we offer it inside our workshop and also in our course. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And why? Why that should be mandatory for every Oriental dancer?
Because this is where the audience start to clap. They get involved with the dancer. And the dancer feels happy, because if you dance and people are quiet, means they are not happy. If they clap, they show they're very happy. It makes the dancer happy. And you dance better. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Very good. So what we're going to do is we are going to invite our dancers, our community, to join us on the 1st of April for our free workshop on Egyptian rhythms and how to dance Egyptian rhythms. We're going to focus on Wahda Kibira. I chose Wahda Kibira as I could have chosen any other rhythm. I really love, actually, I love every rhythm. There are some that are my favorites, but Wahda Kibira is one of them. So we're going to focus on Wahda Kibira.
Okay.
I'm going to teach them how to dance Wahda Kibira, one of the many possibilities. You're going to break some of the rhythms down. We're going to dive into this question of percussion. And then on Sunday, we officially start our course. And you open our course, Rhythms for Oriental Dancers. You're the one opening them with the breaking down of the 8 rhythms that we are going to cover in our course. Now, one last question to close this short Juju Live session is, what is the most important thing dancers have to know about rhythms? What is the most important thing, in your opinion?
Well, there are many levels of rhythm. There is the beat, pum, pum, pa, pum, pa, pa. It's a sort of steady beat, okay? And it's a meter of 4, pum, pum. So you have 4 beats, pum, pum, pa, pa, pum, pum, pa, pum, pa. So within this 4 beat, you have a pattern: short, long, short, long, long, short, long, short, long, long. That's what we call a mode. A way to organize these 4 beats. You're going to split them and you're going to multiply them, etc. So you have this level, the meter, which is the number of beats, also the mode, what you do, how you organize these 4 beats, and how you ornament these 4 beats. I can play like this. But that's boring.
That's the Ardea. That's the Ardea. That's the bass.
Exactly. But the drummer cannot sit still. He has to, his fingers have to move. شخلعني يا جدع دلعني يا ولد.
Yes, so it's the Ardea and the ornamentation above the Ardea and the base. Okay, beautiful. I would also add that one of the most important things for dancers to know about rhythms is that very often they will not find them in music the way they're expecting. So one of the things that I hear the most about rhythms and the challenges around them is that dancers learn the rhythms, the basic rhythms, and perhaps basic rhythms with ornamentation, but then they cannot identify them in the music because they expect to listen to those rhythms exactly as they've learned it in the music, but that's not how they show up. So one very important thing to have in mind is that although the structure of each rhythm is created and there is a tradition and there is a correct way of of playing the ardea, the bass. In real life, in real music, drummers often change that. They often break that basic structure. They often add ornamentations that make you confused and unsure. What am I listening to? They often break a rhythm in two, or distorts, or even make a mistake in the way they're playing the rhythm. And as a dancer, if you are too attached to the idea that you have, this is Masmoudi Kibir, this is Wahda Kibir, or this is Samai, this is, and if you search for those formulas exactly as you learn them in music, most of the time you're going to get confused and too much in your head. So it is important to learn the bases and understand what each rhythm stands for. But then when you're dancing, connect to the percussion as it comes. Connect to the doom, the tack, the ka, the silences as they come. In each music, every drummer will be different. Every music will be different. Some drummers are better technically than others, sharper, cleaner in the way they execute. Some drummers are a little bit clumsy and not so assertive, not so clear. So as a dancer also you have to deal with that. The more connected you are with the doom, the tech, the ka, the silences, the more flexible you become and the more able to respond to the music you become. Instead of getting stuck to these formulas. Oh, this is how they play Falahi? Type, khalas. So this is the only way I'm going to hear Falahi. No. Different drummers will play Falahi in slightly different ways.
Yeah, I mean, this Egyptian musicians are very creative. You cannot bind them into one thing; they go crazy. They're very creative. So they also the drumming would react to the melody, react to the music, and often they will skip a doom or skip a tack or have a
Exactly.
syncopation. For instance, here I am. I didn't play the dooms; I only played the tacks.
Exactly.
All I can do is syncopation.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah, very beautiful. Yeah. So
That's what I mean.
variations, and the drummer don't want to spend half an hour playing one rhythm only one way. They'll die. They're Egyptian.
Absolutely.
They're born free. They're
Exactly.
creative.
But this is why, as dancers, it's so important to know the basis and to have a clear grasp on the basic structure of each rhythm, at least the ones that we use the most in Egyptian music and Egyptian dance, at least the most frequent. But then, as I was saying, having this flexibility of understanding that very rarely you will hear those basic rhythms played with that sharpness, in that way, in that formula, because as you were showing us, the drummers are creative. They change things, they alter, they remove one tack and they add something else. It's not a machine. We are not dealing with machines. We are dealing with creative people. And if we're talking about Egyptian musicians, which are usually the ones who record the music for dance or
They're amazing.
play,
Amazing. Yeah.
it's impossible to ask them to play it the same way every time. It's not going to happen. And it's going to drive the dancer crazy if she's searching for it, right? Oh, I heard it in class. So this is how you play Ayub. So I'm going to ask my drummer to play it exactly like that. It's not going to happen. If he's a good drummer and if he's an artist, it's not going to happen. He's going to change it. He's going to alter. He's going to add something and get you off guard, So it is more important than memorizing. Sometimes I see dancers also very focused on memorizing the names of the rhythms and everything. I say, okay, that's cool. It's cool. But instead of focusing so much on memorization, train your ear so that you can listen, identify, and work with those basic rhythms, ornamentations, and variations to those rhythms, which is where the magic happens. And it's what usually happens when you have good musicians playing. They will create variations. They will create rhythms you never heard. They will show you patterns you never heard.
I
What
mean,
are you gonna do?
yeah, even when they
You
play
know,
the smoothie, they put the zaffa in the middle, or they play the ma'soom, and they switch from one to the other, or they put two ayubs or two malfouf to make up for one smoothie. Yeah, these are very, very creative people, and yeah, that's my spiel for today.
absolutely. I remember when I was working with mine to my main tabal, first Hosni Watatak, he worked with me for a long time, and then Mohsen Maradona, especially Mohsen. He would play rhythms I never heard in my life. And I don't even know if they exist. He's very knowledgeable, so he would grab, old rhythms that are not much in use, classical old stuff that he knew I would love it. So he would bring it, but I never heard them before. And sometimes he would just make things up out, out
Love
of his head. He would make them up. So if I, the dancer, am too attached to formulas, when the
it.
moment to dance comes, I am going to be very limited and I'm going to be very insecure,
Yeah,
afraid. What if they play something I don't know? What if they make a mistake? Or what if they create something I never heard? What do I do? Studying the basic rhythms is the beginning. It's a basic training for you to bloom musically and to be able to be sharper in your ear and sharper in your response to the music. It's not supposed to be a set of formulas you memorize and stick to forever till you die. That's not the idea. That's not the goal. Now, let me share a question that Tamara is sharing with us before we close. This is, as I told you, a short session, so I did not bring a lot of questions, just a
it's
little
okay.
appetizer. Tamara says, that was very interesting about the structure change, identifying in different pieces. Yes, it's always changing. And as we were saying, the more creative the drummers, the more changes you will see. It's not because they don't know how to do the basic rhythms, but it's because they're artists. They're not beginner students who are repeating don't tack tack don't tack don't tack. They will die, So they are artists like everybody. You don't want to repeat the basic structures that you have learned as a young boy, as a student. You are a man. You are an artist. You are creating something from your knowledge and experience. So
Oh,
most
absolutely.
likely you're going to produce something that is not exactly what dancers study in their classes, in their courses. So it's very important to have that in consideration. And then again, guys, the more you train your ear, the more you are able to catch whatever comes your way. No matter strange, no matter how weird, how new it may be. Okay.
I always
Tamara,
yeah, go ahead.
tell me.
I always tell the dancer, your ears are some of your best teachers. Listen, your ear will tell you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you have to trust that
Yeah,
teacher, right? Because the thing is that so many dancers are very musical. It's not like they don't have the sensibility. I never met a dancer who could not listen to the music. They can,
yeah,
but they don't trust their judgment. They don't trust what they're listening. They don't trust themselves, in other words. So it's also very important that you use your ears and you trust what they're telling you.
yeah.
Okay, very important. Tamara asks, are there different rhythms between modern and traditional rhythms? You want to answer?
Uh, some new rhythm come in. Some old ones get gone. Then they're forgotten. We used to have the 5/8, for example, 5 beats to a bar. We don't use that anymore. Uh, and then 7/8 and 9/8 also sort of gone. And then we had all kind of new rhythm, especially when people went to the opera or went to the cabaret, and they heard some Latin rhythm, samba, rumba, you name it, and that was sort of an accretion to it, sort of grew into the music. And the music of Fadil Atrash and Abdul Wahab will have a few of these meters. Yeah,
A lot of rumba, vals,
pulse, yes,
also. So
yes,
those are Western rhythms that got infiltrated, let's say, into the more traditional rhythms for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. So there is Tamara, there is traditional and there is modern rhythms, and there is quintessentially Egyptian and also Western influenced rhythms, right? The ones we're going to focus on are Egyptian. We're not going to work on rumba or on valse or any other Western rhythm. We're going to focus on traditional Egyptian rhythms that are, I believe, the basis not only of Egyptian music that we use, usually most of the music we use, but also the sensibility that every dancer has to develop. And this is something that I find that studying rhythms really help. They develop your sensibility towards the mood, the tempo, the swing, and the emotion of Egyptian music. Sometimes we associate, I think, most of the times we associate emotion with melodic instruments. The kamanga, the ney, the qanun, the oud, we associate emotion with melody. But rhythms have melody too.
Oh, yeah.
And rhythms are emotional too. And rhythms inform about emotion and about story. If you listen to Mahmoud Kibir, واحدة كبيرة, واحدة صغيرة, فلاحي, أيوب, every rhythm will put you into a different emotional state. Every rhythm will show you a different side of Egyptian music and Egyptian identity. Falahi brings you the Falahin and the landscape of the Falahin.
Yeah, I love
You
it.
can also picture, you hear the Falahi rhythm, you can picture the Falahin by the Nile.
I love it.
If you listen to Ayub, you go, pa pa pa, oh, pa pa pa, oh. You go into Zar. Aywa. مش كده؟
أيوه.
I'm joking, but I'm not. I'm laughing, but I'm serious, okay? Yeah. مش كده? Every rhythm is like an entrance into not only Egyptian music, but Egyptian identity.
And different world. Yeah, different world.
Different worlds within the same world.
Yes.
So they educate the dancer's sensibility.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they inform the dancer's sensibility towards Egyptian music and also Egyptian dance and culture. This is what I absolutely love. So guys, what we're going to do is we're going to invite you to join us this week for our workshop on the 1st of April. Okay. Hi, Nuraya. Hi, Felicia. Hi. And this weekend, we're going to meet at 3 p.m. Lisbon time, 10 a.m. your time in Toronto, Canada. This is a live and recorded workshop where we're going to focus specifically on Wahda Kibira, but we're going to give you an overall view of the basic Egyptian rhythms that every Oriental dancer must know about. We're going to get a little bit into rhythmology and also into these things that we've been talking about in this Juju Live session, right? Why the rhythms matter, what it means to read the doom, the tek, the ka, the silences, the mood, and the world in each rhythm. It's going to be amazing. And what we're going to do is we're going to share the link for you to save your spot in the comments below this video. Okay. Let me see what you're sharing here. Hi. Felicia is asking, was Mohammed Abdul Wahab a leading driver in integrating Western rhythms into Arabic music?
Well, he had a patron, Amir al-Shu'ara, was a very famous poet, and he sort of moved Abdul Wahab away from traditional Arabic and Ottoman music. He said, oh, you have to do new things, you have to modernize. And the problem where you speak a language you don't know, you're going to make mistakes. So Abdul Wahab sometimes succeeds, sometimes he fails. And then so much pressure was put on him to always compose and always bring new stuff. When you have nothing to say nothing. But when you force it, you get compositions of much lesser quality. So in my opinion, Abdul have some really brilliant composition. and some lesser compositions. And again, when you use a language that you have not been trained in, you're going to make mistakes. The only one that succeeded is Farid Al-Atrash. He had the sensitivity
Yeah, I was
to,
going to say that.
yeah,
And
how,
you can see it in the movies. You can see a lot of it in the movies. I think there was also an attempt by Farid Al-Atrash to bring a little bit more of modernity into his movies
yeah, that's right.
through the music that he introduced in the movies. And
Yeah,
that included Western rhythms.
correct. And also some of the melodies have this beautiful Italian or Spanish or some music from Argentina or Brazil into his music. And he managed to do it well, and it flows well. It's not, it's sort of like water and sugar as opposed to water and oil. Oil is always going to be on top. So you have two things that don't mix. With Farid, they always mix.
I think also that Farid Al-Atrash was a little bit less ambitious than Muhammad Abdul Wahab, so he took less risks. If we listen to the repertoire of both, you can tell that Muhammad Abdul Wahab was more competitive, was more ambitious. So he tried to push the envelope. And as you were saying,
Yeah.
when you're dealing with a language you don't fully know, chances are you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make more mistakes. And he did them, he did them, of course. I agree with you. Sometimes he succeeded, sometimes it's like a child trying to mess up with something they don't dominate. But in the end of the day, it's beautiful that both of them, I would say Abdul Wahab and Farid Al-Atrash, big time, they brought this Western flavor to the rhythms that were being used. And
see, he's sort of he uses his brain a lot.
Yeah.
Combining these things. Farid is all from the heart. And it touches you immediately, even though the tune are not as sophisticated as Abdul Wahab, but they go from the heart to the heart. Yeah, that's my opinion. I know a lot of people get upset with me when I criticize Bali Hamdi, even somebody, even Abdul Wahab, I criticize them because, I did study Western music for a very long time. So I know where I'm coming from. I know where they are coming from. It's just my opinion.
Of course, and you're entitled to one.
Yeah.
So, it's a personal opinion, of course. Thank you for asking. Felicia. So this is beautiful, and once again, I'm inviting you all to join us on Saturday for our workshop and also for our course Rhythms for Oriental Dancers. I'm gonna leave the link for more information also in the comments to this video so that people can get more information. In the course, we're covering 8 rhythms, 8 basic Egyptian rhythms that are essential in your portfolio as an Oriental dancer. The course is going to be opened by you with a little bit of rhythmology and a lot of eyebrows, of course. And then we're gonna bring these 8 rhythms in 8 modules and one dance combo and one dance breakdown for each rhythm. So I'm really going to go deep into the context of each rhythm, okay, the cultural context, not only the musical context, and we're going to dance them from a well-informed and creative manner, okay? A little bit like a mix between a musician and a dancer. This is what I am in my head. I'm used to it. So when I'm dancing and when I'm creating, I always have the perspective of the musician, but also of the dancer. And that's what I'm going to share with you, me and Mr. George. So Mr. George, once again, thank you for dropping by on this late notice Juju session. I thought that answering these 2 questions about the most beloved rhythms would be interesting for our dancers, for our community. So thank you for joining us, guys, and we'll see each other this weekend for our workshop that everybody can join for free, and also for our course that is starting at Joana Saahirah's Online Dance School. Shukran ya Ustaz. I'm not going to be mad at you for speaking badly of Abdul Wahab. But later on, we will speak about it.
Okay.
What is your favorite music by Abdul Wahab? Let's see if we forgive you.
One of the very best is hang on a second. أحلى وعدي أحب أشوفك كل يوم. 1948.
Gamila. That's your favorite?
Sorry?
That's your favorite?
Yeah, because it has a lot of Ottoman and Greek flavor to it. Very, very, it's very much like Greek chants, and it really touched the heart. It's so beautiful. But then he decided to go and do a lot of modern things.
Yes. Classical and then modern, yeah.
Yeah.
I love Min Khairli.
Yeah,
I used to listen to Min Khairli with Mahmoud Reda so much because it was one of his favorite songs, and we would sing it together, and it stuck in my head. Min Khairli. I choreographed it only once. It's not a song that I've danced a lot to, curious.
no, exactly.
It's one of my favorite. It's so beautiful. Thank you, Stes, once again for joining me. It's always a pleasure to be with you, and I can wait for this weekend and for us to launch
All right.
our course. Shukran, and thanks everybody. Love you guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.